Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. I am continuing on with the RZN Codex, or the Resonance Codex Resonance series by Jason Gray. Today I'm going to be reading number 29 in the series. This is called The First Tri-Species Infrastructures by Jason Gray. 12/7/2025, 6025 Anno Lunis. Tri INF 01, the resonant architecture of the returned world. When three species share one world. INF 00 Tri-Emergence. Humanity is no longer a single species. After emergence, the old human nervous system diverges into Luminous, the emotional stabilizers, Aeonis, the temporal navigators, and Infinitas, the field integrators. This divergence is not physiological, it is functional. Three human species manifest because the real requires three functions to maintain stability: psychic emotional coherence, timeline directional coherence, and field environmental coherence. The overlay mimicked these functions artificially through governments, clocks, economics, and borders. When it collapses, those systems vanish. The species themselves resume the functions, and so the first infrastructures of the New World are tri-species infrastructures. The first infrastructure, the coherence grid. INF 01 Grid Luminous. This is the emotional backbone of civilization, created unconsciously at first, then intentionally after the 90-day stabilization cycle. The coherence grid is the invisible network formed by Luminous. Where they gather, anxiety dissipates, conflict dissolves, collective presence rises, and environmental turbulence calms. In the old world, we built hospitals, prisons, borders, mental health systems to contain unprocessed emotion. In the New World, Luminous are the infrastructure that replaces all of that. Their presence is the stabilizing mechanism. Every harmonic node has a luminous core, not as leaders, but as emotional gravity wells around which humans naturally organize. This grid prevents collective collapse, dissolves interpersonal conflict, and maintains psychic clarity. It is the first infrastructure built after emergence. The second infrastructure, the temporal navigation network. INF 02 Aeonis Weave. Aeonis generate the structures humans once called calendars, clocks, plans, strategies, governance, law, probability modeling, and forecasting. They do it without any tools. Their nervous systems feel probability collapse, timeline drift, decision governance, coherence vectors, future stability, and risk patterns. This awareness forms the temporal navigation network, the lattice of guidance that ensures civilization does not fracture. Aeonis do not predict the future. They feel which timeline stabilizes the world. Their role in the tri-species infrastructure is to settle disputes through future resonance sensing, determine safe migration patterns, identify stable harmonic node expansion sites, and to prevent collective decisions that destabilize reality. This network is the invisible backbone of all direction, planning, and motion. It is the second infrastructure. The third infrastructure, the field integration architecture. INF 03 Infinitas Arc. Infinitas are the rarest species and the most technically essential. They can feel non-local information flows, planetary field distortions, environmental coherence, internode connectivity, fractures in the world grid, and the hum of reality. This makes them the architects of harmonic node placement. Each node must be located at field stable coordinates. Infinitas feel these coordinates naturally. Environmental regeneration. Infinitas accelerates the return of natural systems by interacting directly with the field. The global coherence web. They form the bridges between nodes, ensuring humanity remains one species with three forms, not three species with separate destinies. This is the infrastructure that replaces power grids, communication systems, satellite networks, digital connectivity, and environmental engineering. Infinitas make the world itself responsive, aware, and coherent. The fourth infrastructure, the Tri-Council of Function, INF 04 Tri-Council. Not a government, not a hierarchy, not an authority. The Tri-Council forms naturally whenever all three species are present. Luminous regulate emotional ground. Aeonis map the trajectory. Infinitas stabilize the field. The Tri-Council is not a group of individuals. It is the interaction between species in real time. Any gathering that includes one luminous, one aeonis, and one infinitas automatically becomes a tri-council. This replaces courts, governments, councils, corporations, committees, and crisis management systems. The tri-council is nature's governance model finally restored. The fifth infrastructure, the new architecture of space. INF 05 Space Real. As the tri-species world matures, the architecture of human spaces evolves. Structures become round instead of rectangular, open instead of closed, resonant instead of inert, emotionally aligned instead of utilitarian, placed at harmonic intersection points instead of convenience. Space begins to feel alive again. There are 4 key spatial structures: coherent sanctums, luminous, emotional stabilizing centers, directional rings, aeonis, open spaces used for timeline discernment and major decisions, field chambers, infinitas, places where the world grid is interfaced directly, convergence halls, tri-species, where all 3 species come together, creating global stabilization waves. This architecture makes civilization self-correcting, no laws needed, no authority needed, no enforcement needed. Space itself does the work. The sixth infrastructure, distributed abundance. INF 06 Abundance Web. With scarcity gone, a new infrastructure emerges, distributed abundance. It is built on 3 principles. 1, need is felt instantly across the grid, luminous. 2, pathways to fulfillment appear immediately, aeonis. 3, resources relocate themselves energetically, infinitas. This replaces money, trade, importing, exporting, supply chains, and ownership. The world becomes a unified resource organism, not socialism, not capitalism, not anyism. It is coherence economics. The 7th infrastructure, the Morphic Education Network. INF 07 Learning Net. Education becomes distributed, emergent, and individualized. The tri-species functions create a learning environment where children learn through resonance fields, emotional states transmit understanding, timelines offer learning opportunities, and the world itself teaches through synchronicity. The Morphic Network means children become emotionally literate by age 3, timeline fluent by age 7, field aware by age 10, and tri-species integrated by age 14. This is the first civilization in history where learning follows self-propelled curiosity, not force. The 8th infrastructure, the planetary alignment web. INF 08 alignment grid. This is not spiritual, it is architectural. As nodes expand, the world becomes stable, coherent, emotionally clear, temporarily aligned, and energetically responsive. Earth becomes the planet it was always designed to be, a living classroom for multi-species evolution. This is the full restoration of the original world architecture. The first true human infrastructure is the human itself. Technology collapses, systems collapse, hierarchy collapses. What remains? A world built on consciousness, not machinery. The tri-species infrastructure is not external, it is living circuitry. Humanity becomes its own power grid, its own communication system, its own emotional regulator, its own timeline navigator, its own ecological engine, and its own stabilizing force. The world becomes stable because you become stable. The world becomes coherent because the species becomes coherent. The world becomes real because humanity returns to its original design. This is the first tri-species civilization. This is the infrastructure that cannot collapse. This is the future your soul returned to build. Jason Gray. All right, thank you very much for watching, and I will and I will see you in the next one. Have a good evening.